Okay guys, got a Comfort Maker package unit here. Got a call that the thermostat was blank and nothing was working. So I'm actually doing this video as I leave for the last time rather than when I get here, because I didn't start a video when I got here. I figured it was just a rubbed wire over in the compressor section like most Carrier products do eventually. But when I came out, that's the first thing I looked. The fuse was blown. I checked for rubs, didn't find any, and started looking deeper. And then when I found an anomaly on the low voltage, that's when I started recording. So here's the rest of the video. Well, this is strange. I'm out here working on a Comfort Maker Carrier product package unit, and when I got here, the fuse was blown. So I did the usual Carrier stuff and started going through all of the control wires, seeing where there was one rub, and I couldn't find anything. So I could smell a little something burning here, so I checked the transformer, and I'm getting 24 volts off the transformer, but that was to ground. Let's see if we can get this where we can see it. 27 volts. Now look from to the ground. 151 volts. And I was out here in this wet grass. It's been snowing on the mountain up there. But it just about, it about got me there. I felt it good. So I got to figure out why I'm getting 151 volts to the common wire on this thing. And as far as I know, the common and the chassis are connected together, so something's going on somewhere up in here. Let me see what it is. I'll pull the transformer leads off and test it, completely on the transformer and see if it's done something weird. No, transformer's putting out to 27 volts exactly, so something's happening with that common wire when it's connected. You wouldn't think there'd be anything on that circuit board that would connect AC to the actual control voltage, but I bet that little guy could do it if it wanted to. Let me unplug it and see what happens. Well, I've got both of the plugs off the motor undone, and if I check the transformer, I got 27 volts. If I check from the brown down here to the common, I've got 95 volts. That's crazy. I gotta see what's going on with this brown wire. Let me grab a wiring schematic and see where it goes. Well, I don't know for sure that I found it, but I bet I did. Looks like that has been burnt. But did it get into any of the low voltage? I'll pull that relay out there and look, but both them relays were melted together. So it looks like that's probably gonna be our issue. You can see how it smoked. I should have opened this when I smelled it. I was really thinking it was the transformer when I had that hint of electrical smoke, but it was the heat kit for sure. Let me, I'm gonna just disable this heat kit if I can figure out how, and we'll go try to get the heat running, and probably just, I don't know, this was an older heat kit anyway. It's older than the unit. So we might just, I probably got those relays though. Let me look and see. Okay, there's our cross connection. That brown wire, when it loops up to the upper relay, is fused with the high voltage wire there. I'll get the control voltage, took off this heat kit, and we'll go from there. I may just pull the fuses out of it and go on with it. Well, I took the fuses out of the heat kit and unhooked the control wiring. These Carriers, the heat kits, or this on this one is completely separate. It can have power without the blower having power. But at any rate, it's still, I had my 27 or 24 volts up here, but I got nothing down here, maybe 2 volts, 3 volts. So I pulled this board off because I was looking at how the wires went, and they go in that board and come back out of it, and you can see the burn marks down there. So that 150 volts, this board didn't like it. Looks like that's a terminal where it burned, but I ain't gonna try to fix it. I'll get them a board, and I'm just gonna go ahead and, like I say, this unit is newer than this heat kit. they replaced the unit with a new unit and kept the old heat kit because it was still the same part number, but it's about 20 years old now, I think. So we're probably just gonna get a heat kit. I didn't have the relays for this particular one, and I'll get this board and we'll get them up and running again, but be careful grabbing that low voltage wire, I guess. It about put my in the dirt. Okay, fellas, back on site with new parts. They were in stock. There's the new board. Went ahead and got the new improved heat kit. But I thought I'd better check and see what else might be going on. And the contactor ohms out about 1 ohms, so I'd say it got it too. The thing I hate about, it's a lot of manufacturers, not just Carrier, but see that screw up on top there? If I can't even see the damn thing. But they've got all this real estate and they stick it way up there. You can't even get a nut driver on it because of this lip out here. So I'm gonna take this gizmo and hopefully get it out. We might put it back in a new location if the wires will reach. And I got it pulled down here where I can get on it good. And we've got about 1 ohm, so that means that coil is pretty much a dead short. So it's probably smoked. Well, it is smoked. I don't know if we'll be able to see it or not, but it's no good. If you put 24 volts on 1 ohm, you're gonna have way more amps than 3. So save a fuse, check a contactor. There's what a good contactor should read, somewhere in the mid-teens. Okay, so I was able to move it down. The top screws are now where the bottom one used to be. So that'll give us a little room to work with. And rather than, the way Carrier does this, they have these on the contactor and they just go down through this bundled harness down here to the bottom, presumably where the, single point power supply would be for the heat kit. But rather than have 2 connections, I'm just gonna make 1, and I'm just gonna tape these ends up so they don't get into anything. And you take out 1 wire nut, might prevent a problem later on. So that's what we're going to do. Well, the contactor worked. It came on when I put the red to the yellow for a split second. Then it popped a fuse. So let's see what else is wrong. Okay, from ground to yellow, we have 7 ohms. So that's why it lasted a little bit before it blew, but it was still pulling way more than 3 amps. So we got a defrost board buried down here. There's the, wires coming down to it. I just unplugged them and I've got 0 ohms. So there's a 7 ohm short somewhere in that defrost board. I'm no expert, but those little tiny capacitors look like they're kind of popped up on top, compared to good ones. So I'd say this board got it too. Let me see if I got one on the truck. Just looking at it now, I got it up here in my hand. It's kind of got little score marks. Looks like, it's made to kind of pop open. And you can kind of see the smooth coming out of that one. I don't know. Yeah, I think them 2 are opened up for sure. Okay, Y is just basically the Y on that long terminal there is just hooked to that little spade connector that says Y on the back. So it's just basically a junction block. The Y goes out on that blue wire that plugs on that and winds up coming back over here on T1 on this smaller plug. So T1 to ground is what I was testing basically if all the pressures or loss of charge switches were closed. So I've got the one stuck on T1 there. I'm gonna check this one on common, and we got 11 ohms. So that's our problem. It's in this board. I looked, that T1 runs around here, goes through this big resistor, and then's hooked to the back side of these caps, and that's what's all swole up. So I think if we got a board, that should take care of us. Well, I do not have a board. These last couple of weeks have been very cold, and one night the TVA, Tennessee Valley Authority, lost one of their legs on the high voltage coming to the substations, and people was getting all kind of weird things going on in their house, you know, like half the light bulbs working and everything. People were posting pictures of 60 volts on their outlets, stuff like that. So I had a lot of little electrical gremlins after that. So I'm just completely out of these Carrier defrost boards. So what I'm going to do on this thing now, I'm going to button everything back up safely, put it on emergency heat since we have the new heat kit there, and because right now they're heating with a little electric heater in there anyway. There's no one living here right now. The lady that lived here passed away recently, so they just need enough to keep the water lines from freezing. So I'll just put it on the emergency heat. More than likely it's got the old original Carrier thermostat that flipped open. More than likely it's gone too. Like I say, I know the compressor and the fan came on outside for a few seconds before the fuse blew. The indoor fan did come on and run fine when I tested it. So if the thermostat's good, we'll be ready to go. If it's not, surely I got a thermostat on the truck. But I'll let you know. Yeah, she's deader than the doornail. You know what? I probably got 10 of these down there in a box where I've taken out recently. This lady, like I say, the daughter owns the house now, and she's not going to move into it. She's probably going to put it up for sale. So I think what I'm going to do, it's going to be above freezing tonight anyway. I think I'm just going to go ahead and get the new defrost board and just get one of those used thermostats just like this and put it on, so she don't have the additional cost of a thermostat on this deal. Although there's no reason why it shouldn't work, just thought I might go ahead and check the electric heat before I leave, and all I've done is hook the red to the white there. So it's working fine. It's got the blower on. The only other thing, we've got that board replaced. We've replaced the contactor. It apparently didn't hurt the fan motor because it's running. So the reversing valve is 24 volts, and it wouldn't have been on in heat mode unless it happened to be in defrost. So before I leave, I'll go ahead and ohm out the coil on the reversing valve to make sure it's not like that contactor. Yeah, you can't see none of this contactor without taking it apart, but I can smell it. I guarantee you it's black inside. And to keep from having to open that compartment up, I already opened it and checked for rubs yesterday when I was up here. But the orange comes in here from the thermostat wires, and you see an O on that little smaller connector. They're just connected together and also hooked to this relay. Basically, it either passes it through, or that relay can energize it if it needs to go into defrost. So we'll have to check on this small connector from O to common in order to see what the ohms of the reversing valve is. Let's see, that plugs on this way. So it's going to be from black to brown is going to be the reversing valve coil. And she is 13 ohms, so that should be good. So we just need a defrost board and we should be back in business, along with maybe a used thermostat. Back on site, it's still wet and nasty. Got the defrost control board installed way down there in that little hole. Terrible place to put it, but it is what it is. Have to remove this heat kit area to get back in there. But what I've done is put it in, turned on the unit breaker, and just attached the yellow and red together, because again we have a dead thermostat that I need to go in and take care of. But I just wanted to make sure that we were good, you know, with the new defrost board and everything was working. I did check the defrost thermostat when I got here and it was closed. It's pretty cold out here, so I may go ahead and see if I can get down to that thing and short the test pins and make it go into defrost. I hate engineers. That's a terrible place. I went and found this old beat up insulated screwdriver so I didn't short the thing out. Okay, she just shifted into defrost. Condenser fan is turning off. Reversing valve switched, so it should come out on its own. I'm going to I don't know what I'm gonna do. I guess I'll have to turn it off to put me a new thermostat on. She apparently had bought a thermostat recently since she knew she wasn't going to be living here, and got a Wi-Fi thermostat. She just hadn't had time to have anybody install it, so she's told me where it was in there, and I'll go in and put it on for her. I may wait till this thing finishes defrosting just to make sure it comes out. Went ahead and flipped the heat breaker on just to confirm that the defrost did have it turned on, and it does. That's the only thing these two number 6s go to is the heat kit there. So we should have around 10 kW of heat going into the house right now as well. And she just switched back out. Just make sure the heat went off. Then the heat went off, so we can go inside and put that thermostat on and see if we can get it where she can see it from where she lives. I had left this guy open just in case there was something shorted in the thermostat too. I didn't want to blow another fuse. But here's the new in the box thermostat. Compatibility. Heat pumps with electric backup. So that means it should work on this system. So I'll go ahead and open it up and see if we can get it put on there. I wonder if somebody's tried to install it before, because that little tab is gone on the R. Looks like it's got a RCR jumper there, but that's a little bit weird. I don't know. I guess I need to get the book out and see if you can hook it to either one, or if you have to hook it to the R and use the RRC jumper. I think it would be the same either way, but there could be a diode somewhere. Oh yeah, somebody's been here before. Here's the little stickers that come in the box that you're supposed to put on the wires. So maybe somebody did try to install it. One thing I ever have a question about on these different thermostats is your auxiliary and E. Sometimes they have two separate terminals and you have to put a jumper, which looks like they did give us a jumper for some reason. But this one only has, it says if your old one has both, you have to use a wire nut to attach them together. So we're good. We only have the one. So we've got our common on top. K we won't use. I put it back in that R and it seems to hold good. It's just the release tab is broken. Somebody probably didn't know how to get it loose. And then over here it's got WOB. So I guess it's conventional. It's a white wire. If it's a heat pump, it's your reversing valve. And then you have the Y terminal right below it. The G is below that. And the W2 aux is right below it. So I think we're hooked up right. We'll have to program the new thermostat because it's a new thermostat, but we'll have to set up as a heat pump and also set up the reversing valve to show that it's energized and cooling. This thing still has its plastic on it, but it's got a lot of fingerprints too. I don't think April tried to install it. One, there was no stickers on those thermostat wires, and two, they was awful neat to had somebody take them off and put them on a different base. So I turned the breaker on outside. Let's see if this thing will even light up. Hey, we got something. I'll grab the little book and see how to get into programming mode on these. I don't think I've ever installed one of these. As a rule, I usually don't install homeowner thermostats. I typically just install the ones I get from the supply house. Okay, I got it connected to her router. She gave me the password last night. She said she thought it was a Honeywell. I had her download the Residio app. So I've got it on my phone. I got her to download it and set up an account. She sent me her username and password. So I will set that up in my phone and try to get it attached to her Wi-Fi network. Well, unfortunately, this is either an older thermostat or they just don't use the new app on these thermostats, but it used the old Total Connect Comfort app. And the only way you can get that thermostat into a newer app, the Residio app, is by importing it from one of these. So I went ahead and logged into, I have an account at my shop that I've got these thermostats on. So I logged into it and made a new location and attached this thermostat to it. And then I went into her Residio app account and imported just that one thermostat from my account. So now she can see it on that app. It's not the best way to do it, but if she has any issues with it, she'll call me anyway and I can unregister it from my account and get her to download this app and register it. But for now, she'll have access to it. Well, she's chooching right along on the thermostat. I don't know, I've kind of moved those wires around trying to keep them away from the high voltage. You know, it's funny to me, they make you put some kind of barrier down here at this low voltage, but then they go and stick everything, you know, that close together inside the unit. So I don't know what that actually does when you're still going to have low and high voltage within millimeters of each other. So I'm going to put this lid on and go inside and clean up all those thermostat papers, and I'll text her and tell her she should be able to see her thermostat now, and she can keep an eye on this place, you know, even though she's not here. Thanks for watching.